Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Angel Martinez, and let's queer up entertainment. Lady Gaga's Brazil concert faced a bomb plot against the LGBT community as she breaks an all-time record. In a historic night for music and LGBTQ plus pride, Lady Gaga made headlines on Saturday for breaking the all-time attendance record for a female artist. But the celebration came under a dark cloud. Authorities in Rio de Janeiro have confirmed that Gaga's Copacabana Beach concert drew an astonishing 2.1 million fans, surpassing even Madonna's 1.6 million turnout last year. But what fans didn't know until later was that local police reportedly foiled a bomb plot targeting the queer community attending the event. The details remain under investigation, but the threat has sparked serious concern. Still, Gaga took the stage with strength and heart, dedicating her career-defining Mayhem Ball set to LGBTQ fans across Brazil and the world, performing hits like Born This Way and Vanish Into You. She waved a pride flag and got visibly emotional with her dancers as fans filled the night sky with love, fireworks, and an impromptu encore of Bad Romance. Despite the threat, Lady Gaga and her little monsters made it a night to remember, not just for breaking records, but for standing proud, loud, and queer under the stars of Copacabana Beach. So, I looked up a little bit, as far as, because this is something that when I've spoken to a lot of Brazilians that they mention, right, the inequality in Brazil, right? So the Gini coefficient is the coefficient that defines the percentage of inequality in a country, right? And Brazil has one of the highest Gini coefficients, right? It's at 52%, right? Places like this, right? Brazil, right? As a country, right? Usually when we look at kind of broader around the world, the more this coefficient goes up, right? The worse it is. The bad sentiment, right? Because typically our community is scapegoated, right? When economic conditions are bad, when the economy's bad, when, things are unequal, right? We tend to get scapegoated in these, right? So, if you look at just around the world, right? Europe, right? Where these Gini coefficients are more stable, the economies are more stable, more fair, right? You have broader acceptance of the LGBTQ plus community. Brazil, it's unfortunate, but I don't really see, I look at Brazil as just its economy and its government and the way it is, right? How unstable it is at this point in time. And I'm not surprised that there was a bomb threat. I wish that we had more acceptance in countries like Brazil, right? I wish that, that didn't happen. I mean, it's also like when I think of the US, right? I hope that this is not a backlash to Trump, right? We are the US. So I wonder where, as a country, right, we're the U.S., we're the largest military power, we're one of the greatest economic powers. Is this an after effect of the Trump administration? Is this regurgitating across the world, right? Is this just I
think it might be you might make a connect a dot between Donald Trump's politics and Brazil's challenges.
Yeah.
I can't find I haven't done any homework to it. Europe has been backlashing against Donald Trump because lately the last few elections have been the exact opposite of Donald.
Yeah.
So
Australia just this week.
And there was another, Canada. Canada last week or the week before. So I don't know Brazil well enough to be able to make that correlation.
Yeah.
I just think it might be the fact that there would have been, 2.1 million people. Can you imagine the devastation and the damage you could do during a concert like that? Because it's not just however you kill these people or hurt these people, but it's also the mass chaos that you create and the people being hurt from that chaos.
Yeah.
And I think it's more Lady Gaga and her and aimed at her because of her obvious talents and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a hodgepodge and it's in part of the equation or the recipe of the whole event. But I just think that, we need to be thankful for Gaga and we need to be thankful for the police of Brazil for doing their job and not saying, oh, it's not important enough.
Yeah.
and and just be thankful that nobody was hurt.
It's funny, and especially Angel, to your note, I actually see tremendous positives in this story. I've been to Brazil many times. I've been to Copacabana Beach. I've stayed right on Copacabana Beach. First, I think one of the great portions of this story is not the 2.1 million people, but how much and how important it was to Gaga. I watched several things. I watched a lot about this concert, actually, and how emotional she got. She brought her full LGBT to this concert. There was just no question about it. There was no hiding anything in terms of her identity in this event. And for the country to eclipse Madonna's record from last year is really a feat. And not only eclipsed it, just crushed it. This was a crushing success for Gaga. And I think that's partially one of the reasons why she was so emotional, is that she was representing all of us, our entire community. And she knows what's going on in America. And in some places around the world. The one thing that I also think is really important about this moment of the concert is, thank God, this whatever it was, it's coming out. Slowly. Gaga has commented on it again today specifically. We don't know all of the details, so I'll wait till I hear more of the details to comment on the threat. But I think it is very positive for all of us, because it's a representation of something we can hang our hats on, of positivity. They had a president, as we have quickly forgotten, called Bolsonaro, and he was Donald Trump Brazilian. And Bolsonaro was fraudulent and illegal, and would lie at hand and would manipulate at hand and would use whatever resources he wanted to, in a radical conservative fashion, accomplish whatever he wanted. He was successful for a while. He is now being prosecuted. He is very likely going to go to prison for the rest of his life. And it is a symbol of what we can hope will happen in America, because the radical nature of what he was in dictatorship, in democratic authoritarian regime in Brazil, and Brazil rejected it. And they
got wise to it.
Exactly.
They learned.
And Gaga has referenced the new freedom that is going on in Brazil. I would also point out the LGBTQ community in Brazil. Your reference is accurate, but it's much more about economics. The separation between rich and poor in Brazil is gigantic.
It's enormous.
The poverty level in Brazil is significant. The uber rich in Brazil is very significant, and the middle class is very small compared to the United States. And that's what causes the statistical results that you're talking about. But the LGBTQ community is dynamic. It shocks people when I say the biggest pride celebration in the entire world is in Brazil. We're getting ready to do Stonewall Pride in among one of the gayest destinations in the world. And we'll have about 60,000 people come to Stonewall Pride. Sao Paulo Pride has 2 million people come to their Pride celebration. And LGBT embracement has skyrocketed post-Bolsonaro, because Bolsonaro, as authoritarian dictator, makes the decision, we're going to other someone. Who are we going to other? We're going to other the queer people. And he was able to get away with it for a while, and then has failed. And now he's in jail. And now he's going to prison. And not just because of that, but many, many things he did. So Gaga's concert is really kind of the cherry on top of what has happened in Brazil over the last 5 years. They survived, and now they're thriving. And I hope millions of Americans will go, we can be that again.
Now I want to, fingers crossed. I don't want to take any I mean, I've noticed in a lot of the conversations about this story, everyone's like, well, Madonna only did 1.6. Come on, people. 1.6 million people on Copacabana
Great
Beach.
for Madonna, too.
And she's a huge ally, too. And she didn't hesitate to bring us up at her concert. So let's not forget we had two allies, both equally successful.
That's right.
Same
Exactly.
monster.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Come on, Brazil, get one. Support our LGBT stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.